Pump it up.
I'm pumped up, baby.
Here we go, mate. 3, 2.
Episode 3, we are back on the WSSC podcast. We've been killing it. First 2 weeks have been awesome, but now we've got a little secret surprise here. Woody here, Dirk here,
How's
and
it a secret
Ahmed
surprise?
Eideh.
How's it? I love
No one
you,
knew.
bro.
No one knew who was here, bro. It's a
Can
secret
I
surprise.
say one thing, though?
Tell me.
I miss Brick.
I do miss Brick. He's
Minute
away now.
silence for Brick.
Wait,
I am Brick.
hey, like we discussed in the last podcast, take time off, enjoy yourself. But now we are here with our performance nutritionist, Ahmed Eideh. Before we get going, make sure you subscribe on YouTube to the WSSC account, Christian Woodford, or you follow us on Woodford Sports Science Consulting.com on the website, or you go on Instagram and follow all our accounts. Ahmed, how are you?
Chris,
Very well.
can I say, that was brilliant. Well done. He's
you,
actually, I've told him to do it because for me, it's like taking over from what I'm doing. And I said, bro, you got to get better intros. Yeah. And he has.
Nah, he's killing it.
No, that was really good.
Really good.
I'll give him credit where credit's due.
Yeah, I mean, if you didn't interrupt him, he would have been better. But
Nice, Ahmed. Very good. Welcome to Ahmed as the guest. Welcome,
Ahmed,
Ahmed.
thanks for
tell
having
us.
me.
How are you,
for
man?
having me. I'm good. Good to be back in Melbourne.
Yeah, well, tell us. Well, hold on a second. So, where are you now? Tell us.
So originally born and raised here in Victoria.
Yep. Whereabouts?
And then northern suburbs. So
Whereabouts?
the ghetto. So in Craigieburn, Rocky Park area. Well, I grew up in Broady when I was younger. So,
Broady?
Yeah, from Broady.
Now, wait, actually, a genuine question. Is it unsafe there? Like,
Nah.
is it just like a misconception?
Look, I'm of the belief that you attract what you put out. So wherever you go, if you're going to go look for trouble, it'll find you. But if you respect yourself and you go about your business, people will return that to you as well. So I never had any issues. People down there are so friendly.
In Broady?
Broady,
But
yeah.
you understand where we're getting the idea from.
100%.
Because Chris, I don't, if anyone knows this, I'm going to say it right now. Chris is a private school boy. Went to
primary school.
No. Yes, no, you're a liar. Year 7, you went to Brighton Grammar, yes or no? Yes or no? Okay, there we go. That's what I'm going to say.
And then
No. We'll just ask my question. I'm a public school boy like you. Were you public or private? Oh, God.
I went to a public school after
Wait,
that.
were you? What school did you? What did you go to? Oh, well, that's semi-private. You're fine. Chris went to Brighton Grammar.
And then I went to Parkdale Secondary.
No. His old man, if you ever know Chris's old man, dude, he's just, what you see is what you get, like us.
Yeah.
Incredible. And I'm like, Chris, why did you go to private school, bro? Nothing against private schools.
Yeah, but in his defense, he was a kid.
No.
Didn't have much
But
to
I
say.
like giving it to him a little bit about that.
Yeah.
It's just like meeting his old man. He's like, oh, geez, straight up and down.
Yeah.
This is how it is.
Straight
Works
up.
hard.
Yeah.
You know, the people that we like. You know.
Put your balls on the line type of guy.
That's it. You have to. I think as men, we all have to put our balls
Can
on
I?
the line.
I want to ask a quick question. Can I ask a question?
Before we ask that question, just continue with what.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so now-
I'm excited to ask you questions.
Yeah, so I met my beautiful wife just after 2021, I think, the COVID, so
You've only known us since 2021.
No, so 2020.
Still, it's
Sorry, yeah, no. Oh, fuck, she's going to kill me for this.
bro. You need to know when.
Yeah, it was 2021.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
You married quickly then.
well, because, thank you to Daniel Andrews, by the way, because we were in lockdown, we spent a lot more time than you
true.
normally would. So we got to know each other real well in a really short amount of time. And she's originally from Sydney, so naturally she wanted to move back home to be closer to her family. So, like we were saying, I put my balls on the line and supported her, and we moved to Sydney. So I've been living there since the start of this year.
So how long have you been married to her for?
January 7th is our 1 year anniversary.
And it's all going well.
Next
Yeah,
week.
of course.
Next
Yeah.
week.
You got to say.
No, look, at the end of the day, I'm sure we've all been in relationships here, or we're still in relationships.
Wow.
It's never, it's a roller coaster. So you get your extreme highs and you get your challenging moments. But, one thing I've noticed is that when you live with someone, it's all about growth. So in those moments where you're both, like going off at each other, that's when the growth happens.
No,
because
great
you
point.
learn from that and you build from that. So, yeah, look, it's challenging, but I wouldn't change it for the world. Completely happy with the decision I made.
Ahmed, I got a great question.
Well, hold on. Well, I said the first
Okay.
question. Why are you? Can I?
You go first, then I'll go second.
Okay, thank you.
Go.
Well, thank you. Quick question for you, for everyone out there. So you obviously you love nutrition, but my question is I've met you here, and I think you've been fantastic. You're very passionate like me. That's why we kind of got along. For everyone out there, I interviewed 2 people for the position. The first person I interviewed, she was brilliant. Very, very good. So it's a credit to you because she was brilliant. The reason why I selected Ahmed because your passion. So the question I got for you is, where does your passion come from food and nutrition? Like, give me your background. How did it all start and how did it come to fruition?
Yeah, so I've always been into health and fitness, even from when I was younger in high school. I started playing footy For everyone listening, that's the best sport of all, Aussie rules.
We're not talking about soccer here.
No, pure, all rugby. But it's, I played AFL from a young age because I love the sport. And I've always been, into health and fitness. And then I've always also been quite a switched on kid. Like in high school, I was a bit lazy, but I was always switched on. And then when it got to, early 20s, I wanted to do something with my life. So I originally wanted to be a personal trainer.
Yeah.
And then I had a look at, the course for a personal trainer versus a course for a nutrition course. And I found that I thought, you know what? The nutrition degree seems a bit more challenging. Let me get that under my belt first.
Yeah.
And then I'll do the personal training later. But then once I got into the nutrition, I loved it that much. It was just, apart from getting married, it was the best thing that I've ever done.
That's sick. The reason why I'm asking about that is because I love anyone. The reason why I hired you is I just love anyone who's passionate about. Even we were talking downstairs, and I wish this got this on camera. But just even you talking about your passion, and we'll talk about omega 6s, your fats, and just your passion. And you could see when you say, like seriously, when you say that's the best thing apart from getting married, you actually, I know you believe that.
100%.
But there's people out there who just say it for the sake of it. You actually mean that.
Yeah, look, and in my course, I met a lot of people that just wanted to, there was a lot of mothers in the course that just wanted for their kids so they know what to feed them. And there were a lot of people that wanted, to be sales reps or other avenues, in that industry. But for me, I always wanted to do it this way. I love helping people. And you know what, since I've been, practicing, I used to always hear the cliche that, we don't do it for the money. And you used to think, oh, what a load of shit.
Yeah.
But then you actually, you get that client that comes to you and says, you've literally changed my life.
Yeah.
And the feeling you get is better than any bank check you'll ever get. Correct. And I mean that wholeheartedly. So when it comes to food, it's so important. Like obviously for me, I've always been obsessed with the training, but it kind of comes hand in hand. Yeah.
So when a client obviously sees them, how do you have to break down? Because we talked about before, and I wish I got this on camera, but we didn't. But there's so many myths around foods.
Yeah.
Let's talk about. I know you got a question, but let me talk about this. This one I really want to talk about. What's the biggest? Just give me the 3 biggest myths when it comes to food for everyone out there.
So the 3 biggest myths. Oh, that's a good one. Number 1 is that saturated fat is bad for you.
Okay. Yeah.
And that sort of ties in with the whole animal foods are bad for you.
Yeah.
I can drop F-bombs and...
Yeah, of course you can.
Complete bullshit.
Yeah.
The other one will be the not so much of a myth, but the heavy-handed approach that we've taken with the whole calories in versus calories out. It's a lot more... There's a lot more to it than just that.
Yeah.
But, if you look at a lot of advertising, a lot of... health advice that we've received from governments over the years or, medical bodies, it's always been, as long as you're burning more than you're eating, it should be fine. We can get into a bit more detail about why that's so detrimental later, but that's and then the last one is probably salt. Salt is...
But salt's been bastardized. Why has it been bastardized?
The short answer is that they pretty much wanted to promote sugar. And at the time, at the time that sugar was being promoted in the diet, they started seeing rises in hypertension.
Yep. Heart disease, yeah.
So they fingered salt as the problem.
Oh, they love pointing at other foods.
Exactly right.
Sorry, I've just got to ask this because
ask. I want to expand upon this.
No, but I don't know about you, but even for me, even because I read what you put out, and I read obviously educated people who put out good content, and I just generally read myself because I'm passionate about that. But the food pyramid.
Yeah.
How wrong is that?
Oh, completely. Absolutely.
Can you quickly talk about that quickly? Just expand on it.
Yeah. So they've got it the wrong way around.
Yeah.
Especially when we've got an obesity, and we've had an obesity epidemic for the better part of about 30, 40 years now.
Yeah.
You don't want carbohydrate sources at the eat most category.
Yeah.
And not because carbs are bad. I mean, I don't think there's anything inherently bad on its own. It's eaten to excess. And the reason why I say that is because carbohydrates aren't really a satiating macronutrient. And what I mean by that is it won't keep you fuller for long enough. So eventually what will happen is if you base your diet around carbohydrates like breads and pastas and grains
cereals and stuff like that,
you'll end up getting hungrier quicker. And then you'll end up being in a caloric excess, which will make you gain weight.
Question for you, right? So I've been told, I could be wrong, it's not my area, your area. By the way, I always say stay in your lane. This is why, hence I always go to you for these questions, and Scott. When it comes to protein, is this why they say you should eat more protein because you feel full for longer?
Yeah, that's one of the reasons. That's one of the reasons of many, many reasons why we should be eating more protein.
Okay, because with protein, and when I'm on my diet, and Kieran can attest to this, when I'm on my diet, Look at her face over there. I wish you could see it. You can't see her face, but when it comes to when I'm eating protein, brother, like steaks, mince, eggs, I feel fuller for longer.
Yeah, and you won't get a food coma.
Oh, you don't.
But if you eat the same amount of food, but like, for example, in rice,
you feel bloated.
You'll feel bloated and you'll crash.
Yeah, actually, you do crash.
What's with the crash?
Yeah.
So it's all about blood sugar regulation. So when we eat, this is one of the reasons why keto is actually quite a, it's quite successful in weight loss. Obviously done right, because there's a lot of ways to do keto wrong.
Yeah.
But when we eat foods that are high in protein, high in fat, and relatively low in carbohydrate, your blood sugar levels rise steadily and then they decrease steadily. And when they finally start decreasing, your body has pretty much ample time to kind of kick in the food-seeking behavior at a normal rate. So then you're not going to be craving foods. You're just going to be like, you know what? I'm actually hungry. Let me go make a meal. When we eat a lot of processed carbohydrates or just carbohydrates, high amounts in general, what happens is our blood sugar levels skyrocket. That's why we get that sugar rush. So you literally skyrocket that energy within about 15 to 20 minutes. And then as soon as that's done, it comes down very quickly. But it doesn't just drop. It drops down below where you started off before. So now that's where we get that crash. So now you feel lethargic, you feel tired, you're yawning. You can't even think properly. And then what happens is, because there wasn't as much nutrition in that meal, your body has pretty much thinks to itself, all right, we just got a whole bunch of calories, but we're still nutrient deficient. So we must be in an energy deficit. So then your body's going to start sending food seeking signals to the brain to say, hey, we have a bit of an energy deficit. We need to go out and seek more food. And then that's how cravings, and that's how that vicious cycle of, eating processed foods happens, is that those signals to the brain, you start getting cravings, stress hormones get released, we eat more foods, and then like blood sugar levels crash again, and then we just repeat.
Sorry, so just so I know this, because of my neuro background, I understand that the nervous system needs a constant supply of glucose to function. At what point though, so this is what I've been told anyway, and I can understand it, because you think about it, if you have, you've got no, all your glycogen stores are depleted, you do feel, when you don't have enough carbohydrate, that you kind of feel lethargic, you feel tired. But is there a point where you can make your body more fat adaptated?
100%. And that whole, you feel your body tired, or you feel you don't have any energy when, you haven't got the carbs, that's conditioning to an extent, but it's also the way that we've been
Indoctrinated,
not indoctrinated, but we've been taught to eat. Right, so from birth till, whenever, we've always been fed high carbohydrate food. Because if you look at the food pyramid, they're the foods that are at the eat most category.
At the category, yeah.
So your body kind of not loses, but it kind of puts away its ability to utilize fat as energy. And this is where like low carbohydrate and keto diets come in handy. Your body has processes to deal with and a short supply of glucose. So your body, it has this process called gluconeogenesis, where it can create glucose from non-carbohydrate sources such as fats and proteins. So
the amino acids can't.
Exactly, amino acids and some fats, right? So when we constantly eating refined carbohydrates or carbohydrates, and we're constantly releasing insulin stops your body from utilizing the fat in your fat cells to use for energy. So even if you're hungry, right, if your insulin is constantly elevated, which is what happens with a lot of people with insulin resistance, your body won't touch the fat in the fat cells to use for energy. Your body will then detect that energy deficit and will start causing you to have cravings and food-seeking behavior. So now you've still got that fat cells, or all those fat cells that are quite full, and now you're going to be eating food. You're not very active, so your body's not going to be burning much of that food. Can't stay in the blood because excess glucose in the blood is toxic. So then it's got to put it in the fat cells.
But either the fat cells or stored in glycogen in the muscle or liver.
Yeah, but if your glycogen stores are full, it's got to go somewhere.
It's going to go to the fat cells. Just so I know as well, insulin is such a powerful anabolic hormone, right? Is. So but for everyone out there, because a lot of people watch the podcast because of training, I've always been taught after training, it's important to, this is my 3 factors, what I tell everyone, all right? Protein resynthesis, protein resynthesis, glycogen resynthesis, and minimized muscle protein breakdown through switching from catabolic to anabolic, right? How important are carbohydrates though after training?
Oh, they're very important. Okay. But that's what I'll say. I said earlier in the start, there's nothing that's inherently bad. It's context.
Everything's context, correct.
Exactly.
But we get taught, though, it's all black and white.
Of course.
Carbs are bad. Shut out
because
this macronutrient group.
Polarizing statements.
It works, yeah.
It's
cells.
clickbait.
Yeah, correct.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no shit.
You look at Instagram, for example, the ones that get the most views or the most attention are the ones that cause the most controversy.
Well, look at what we talked about this just before, and thank you, Donnie, for putting it out there in this clip when I swore like a drunken sailor. Look how much reach it got.
Exactly.
Because people are like, it's causing controversy. I knew that. I'm not dumb.
Yeah.
And
same thing with diet.
Correct. And have you noticed as well, I don't know, and I know you got a question, but sorry, I like going down this rabbit hole, right? A lot of people in your industry, and I'm not saying that we have cowboys in our industry, but it's especially true in your industry where you get all these people who put, especially females, on low like 1,000 calories a day, give a massive amount of cardio, and they wonder why they put weight back on.
Yeah, speaking of that, I actually one of my clients at the moment, she had a bit of an issue, obviously with COVID and stuff, like really stressed, so she gained a bit of weight. And then she went to this personal trainer that's like a one-stop shop.
Yeah, of course.
Does the training.
Wait, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Of course, you're a one-stop shop.
Does the training, does the diet, does the calorie counting, does everything.
Of course, they do everything.
In the end, she was on that much of a calorie deficit. And not only that, but she was training extremely hard. And I mean, your background's in neuro.
Yeah.
If you exhaust the nervous system and you don't replenish it, you're going to get neuro fatigue.
Well, but also neurological fatigue. But also the biggest thing about that is you're not adapting to anything. You're not giving your body fuel for anything.
So what happened was she ended up gaining weight with this training.
100%.
She gained, I think, about 4 to 5 kilos in like 6 weeks.
Of fat.
And then, she had enough. Right, so she took some time off, and then she ended up reaching out to me, and then took her on, and within 8 weeks, she was down, I think, about 5 kilos. No exercise, by the way, apart from like walks around the lake.
What did you change?
Her diet.
But be more specific, though.
So a lot of times when people focus on calories, we're not looking at nutrient profile. So what we did, rather than just get her to count calories, first of all, like this is just so everyone listening, I've never once instructed my clients to calorie count, to measure their food, to track their macros. Never. That is such a waste of time. It actually causes more stress, and it's actually more harm than good. Right?
Don't you think though? And this is fair, but I do, and the reason why I do it is because I don't think you have to do it, and I agree with your point, 100%, fucking 110%. But for someone like me who's very driven on their food and likes to do it, is it okay to do sometimes?
It is, and again, go back to context. So if I've got, for example, one of my clients, and I've had this in the past, that are like bodybuilders, or people that need to remain under a certain amount of body fat, then definitely we'll bring it in because it's warranted to an extent. Not for very long. But for general population, for someone that just wants to lose weight or put on a bit of muscle, it causes more, and especially for females, it causes more harm.
What do you say to them in terms? Do you say like a palm size? Or how do you do like?
Yeah, what's your actual implementation?
So the wonderful thing about your body is that your body is always trying to communicate to you, but we've lost the ability to understand what our body's trying to tell us, right? So the reason why you get full is because your body's telling you that, hey, we've eaten enough food, we've got enough energy, we don't need to eat anymore, we're good. We've got enough to satisfy us for our daily activities that we need to do. When we get hungry again, I'll let you know comfortably. Right? That's how it's supposed to happen. Yeah. But when we're eating processed foods all the time, or when we're constantly stressed, or when we're in significant calorie deficits, we're trying to outsmart our body. We're pretty much telling our body, hey, I know more than you, so shut up and do what I say. And your body's got defense mechanism. Your body is primed for survival. Right, it's primed for survival.
Not for performance. But people think it's primed for performance, but survival.
So when you try to manipulate your body and you're doing something that your body doesn't agree with, it's got safety mechanisms. Right? And the reason why I hate extreme calorie deficits is because if you do it long enough, right? Initially, it's fine. Like, I do a Ramadan fast every year. That's fine. I'm in a calorie deficit, but my body knows it's a short amount of time. And
how long is Ramadan?
1 month.
You do it for a month?
Yeah, but it's not like we don't eat. It's just we don't eat from sun up to sundown.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And again,
do you lean up during that time?
Sometimes, but again, sometimes because you haven't eaten all day and then you
eat a lot,
overindulge.
Yeah, overindulge.
And Lebanese mothers are amazing cooks, so it's never just like a small portion. It's like a big
fucking meal.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you're Greek. You'd understand.
Yeah, so 3 meals in one.
But yeah, so when
sorry, just quickly go back. Just quickly, so I know I don't know. But that's like what I was doing before. What was called intermittent. It's kind of like intermittent fasting. Isn't
exactly,
it?
It is. It's a form. Intermittent fasting. There's many variations.
Yeah.
Right. But when you drop your calorie intake too much for too long, what you're telling your body is that there's a famine out there. So now your body thinks, all right, there's limited energy supply. So we need to do 2 things. We need to, 1, burn energy. So drop your metabolism. So burn energy at a slower rate. So then you can conserve your energy that you have got. And number 2 is that it's going to discourage you from exercising, from burning excess energy. So that's why a lot of people, especially females, because they have more hormones that play around with the thyroid and reproductive hormones, but especially with females, that's the reason why when they go down on such dramatic drastic calorie deficits, they start to feel fatigue. They get, issues with their menstruation.
They're irritable.
It's because you're trying to outsmart your body, and your body, it has kicked in its defense mechanism or its safety mechanisms. So what I do is that I try to, first of all, I understand the person, because at the end of the day, another thing that I hate about my industry is that we look at the individual, the client, as like a set of numbers or a textbook or a case study. It's like, dude, that's a person. Whether they're an athlete or a mother or a father, they're a person. They've got their stresses, they've got their insecurities, they've got their lifestyles, they've got their jobs. They're a person. So the first thing I do is, all right, tell me your story. What do you do? What are your hobbies? Treat them as if they're a mate.
But that, and this is a very important point, and I've talked to Chris, you've learned this before. I've talked about this for years. That's the art which they can't teach in a textbook.
Exactly.
Getting to know somebody.
100%.
Asking them. I love how you said that, because that's exactly what I do, and I know he does as well. Sorry, Chris does.
My sister taught me a very valuable lesson when I was younger, and back when I was like about 12, I used to think I was one of the cool kids. And there was this group of kids that were very smart. And I was talking to my other sister once, and I was like, oh, those nerds in school, did you see them? And my sister turns around and she says, why are they nerds? Just because they're smarter than you? And she's like, always put yourself in other people's shoes before you talk about them. So whenever I get clients, the first thing, when they're telling me their story, I'm just trying to imagine myself in their shoes. How would I like, a nutritionist talking to me if I've got body image issues, or if I've had issues with bullying because I've been an overweight, adolescent? So that's my first.
That's called
approach.
empathy, though. And
exactly.
Your sister taught you that, John. My sister taught me I can be a fuckwit. But it's true, though. It's a good lesson to learn empathy. It's funny you talk about that, because as you age, and this is not for everyone, but for people who develop themselves like yourself, you learn a lot more empathy. It's so funny, because I used to be like that. And I remember when I started going through this in coaching, as a coach, and as a coach you learn so much more empathy for people.
You do. And you know what? I think that a big problem, like with men, is that we don't listen enough to the women in our lives.
No, I agree with
because
that.
Because my mum, my sisters, no, but my mum, my sisters, and especially recently, like my wife, they have taught me so much more about how to be a better man and a better practitioner, a better brother, better friend. Because I've learned to listen to the women in my life, which a lot of men just completely throw that out.
How funny is it transfers across your whole life?
Oh, definitely. It's helped me in my business so much more.
You realise that once you start listening to people and you stop trying to just tell people what to fucking do all the time, you're actually able to get people to be on your side. And like you said, when you're working with people and these like females, you put yourself in their shoes, right? Rather than just be like, you need to fucking track your weight. You need to do this. And they're like, well, fuck, I'm insecure. I don't feel comfortable. You're like, how would they feel? How would they want to know how to be treated, communicate, so you can actually get someone to do what you want them to do?
100%. And that's that's what I was saying before about the calorie deficit and with females. Why it's so bad is because, like I was saying earlier, when you constantly drop your caloric intake, your body drops its metabolism. So what happens is now, even though, let's just say a woman's basal metabolic rate normally is, let's say, 1,500 calories.
Yeah.
Let's say she drops it to 1,000 calories, and then her body changes it to 1,000 calories now, her BMR, because that's what she's been doing for X amount of time. When she goes back to her normal eating habits, whether it's healthy food or not, the minute her calorie levels go up, her BMR's dropped, and it's going to stay low. So now, if she's eating 1,500 calories, she's going to gain weight, because her basal metabolic rate has dropped to 1,000 calories. So now what happens is she gains weight, even though she's not eating bad, she's not eating too much. She starts to feel shit about herself. She goes and talks to her trainer. All right, her trainer's going to protect their ego and say, oh, it's not what I've told you. It's because of you. You must be eating too much. You need to drop your calories even more. So then instead of going at 1,000 calories, now she drops it to 800.
It just gets worse.
And then worse and worse. And that's how issues start to, like significant health issues start to happen.
But also not only, it's the psychological issues, the mental health. Yeah. I think women especially, and I can't really talk.
And look, it happens with men too. Like,
yeah, of course, but I'm going to talk about what I understand. I don't really train, I'll be completely honest with you, I train men who are very different to that type of demographic. They'll eat, because they're expending so many calories, they play sport, they eat everything, and they're just kind of fine with it.
Exactly.
But I've seen issues with females, man, that I've dealt with. I've seen myself, man, crazy. Yeah. And for me, man, you're a professional where you pass on to the appropriate psychologist, whatever it is. These trainers, bro, they make it worse.
They make it worse, and a lot of them, not all of them, because there are some very good personal trainers.
No. We're not bastardizing that, but there are.
But I get a lot of, and this I notice with females especially. A lot of my female clients, and majority of my clients are female, but a lot of them come to me because they've tried trainers before, and they've tried other practitioners before, and it hasn't worked.
Yeah,
and it's like they've kind of lost all hope. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And thankfully I've had success stories with all of them. Right, and that's the issue. Like again, it becomes a psychological issue. They start, and women naturally are more self-critical than men are.
Oh God, yes,
emotional.
Yeah.
So it starts to play on them, and then it just. Then instead of eating, a normal diet, they just go on the complete binge, and then they want that dopamine
hit. You know what I say about men? Men overshoot, women undershoot. That's what I know in the gym anyway. I'm not sure about for nutrition. I agree 100%, but with training, men are always overshooting, females undershoot, but they're so critical of themselves, especially their bodies.
Yeah.
One thing you got to be very careful. What I've learned is from my mother. You got to be very careful what you say to women about their bodies. With men, it's a bit of give or take. A bit far. But with females, especially when it comes to how it's very emotional. Even with eating. Emotional,
especially. I mean, you look at like body image issues. Majority of the case, it's with females.
Yeah.
I mean, we all went to high school with girls. You saw that. I knew a lot of girls that wouldn't even play sports.
Chris didn't go in year 7. Chris went to a Brighton Grammar. Everyone went to Brighton Grammar. All boys school, Chris did.
Okay.
Just let you know.
For those that don't know, but like there will be a lot
I went to a co-ed school.
No. Brighton Grammar is an all-boys school.
Yeah, but I went to a co-ed school after that.
No, in year 7. I'm sick of you talking about
Besides
this.
that.
You went to Brighton Grammar in year 7. Let's leave it at that. Keep going.
Anyway.
But
one up on him, man.
Like, there was a lot of girls in my year levels in high school that would opt to not participate in physical education because they didn't want to sweat.
Wait,
they didn't
what?
Want to smell.
Sweat?
Yeah, but it goes to show, like, with women, how they are more emotional about stuff like that.
Correct.
So that's why growing up with sisters was one of the best things that ever was for me, because I knew how to communicate with them, because all my sisters are different personalities.
But
So...
Yeah, no, I love that. But I'm actually eager to hear, you said like you just listen to how you feel. You can't, you have to eat, when you're full. But you said obviously stresses come in life, all these other things. And when we lose disconnect, how do you kind of get someone connected back to how they feel?
At the end of the day, right, like I was saying, your body is primed for survival. Yes. So anything that's going to help us survive, it's going to promote or whatever. So when we eat food, again, we need food to, not just for energy, but we need to rebuild and build our tissue, our organs. Even like we need proteins for DNA synthesis and stuff like that. So your body will always wants food. So when you start eating a nutritious diet, what you'll notice is that your stress will start to decrease. Your emotions will start to regulate. Your thought patterns will start to change. Yeah. And you'll be able to be like, oh, you know what? Like my body's feeling a little bit different. I must be good. And those stresses, especially over food, will kind of go away because your body can think clearly. Because another thing with these, processed foods, these ultra processed foods that we get in our diet, is that they cloud our thinking. Like they actually increase inflammation in the brain. And there's a few studies that have shown that, with cases like major depression and anxiety, there's a correlation between inflammation in the brain.
Do you know what
That's so interesting.
I had a good laugh about during the, I'm not going to say the name because I don't want to, but during that thing, what happened to us 2 years ago, whatever it was, how many of these people complained about other people not getting certain things or whatever, yet they're overweight themselves?
Yeah, look, this day and age, everyone's scared to fucking take personal responsibility.
Oh, God, yes.
At the end of the day, like, if you're overweight, like, and I communicate this to my clients, like, I'm not very vulgar in my terminology, but you have to understand that if you've gained weight, or if you've become sick, it is a result of decisions you've made.
Correct.
But the bad thing about that is it's all on you, right? But the good thing is that the healing process or the benefit is on you too. So all you need to do is just make better decisions. And when I help my clients, and because I'm big on education, like I don't tell my clients what to do. I provide them with handouts, information handouts. I provide them with guides because I want them to make that decision. I want them to have the information to understand it and able to make the decisions themselves.
Yeah, but also you're giving them a life gift, which is the gift of knowledge.
Yeah.
And you're giving them autonomy. And it's funny, when I started this industry, they told me the opposite. Don't tell them too much, keep them coming back.
Yeah.
And then I realised, isn't that stupid? Because aren't we here to educate?
Make them feel insecure. Make them feel like they need you.
That's exactly how...
I hate that shit.
Yeah, but
that's
these people, you can see what the cream... My old man taught me something when I was younger. The cream always rises to the top. And the way I see it is, if you look at and generally speaking, because there's absolute spuds who are well known, but they're no good at their job just because of social media. I could name 10 here, but I'm not going to. But the cream rises to the top, and you doing that, you know what they're going to do? They're not going to... Especially you take women, the demographic, women talk. And for you and your business and working here at Woodford that's fantastic because you're giving them the gift. In my opinion, knowledge is so important. And what a lot of people like, and look at, and unfortunately, this is real sad for low socioeconomic groups where they feed, their byproduct of what happened in their life and they keep the cycle going where they feed their kids crap. Bro, I was at McDonald's and just getting a coffee during Christmas. And not Christmas, but 2 days before, I just got a coffee because of the drive-through. But to see these two parents feeding their kids, 3 kids. The parents were overweight and their kids, it's just a cycle, isn't it?
It is. And it's, I'm a big believer, like I was saying, of personal responsibility. So I don't like to throw things that don't have my control, that I can't control.
Yeah.
So when people say to me, it's genetic, for me personally, I don't believe in that. It's a result of your environment. It's a result of your decisions.
A little bit of genetics.
Yeah, there are certain things, obviously. Like I'm not going to...
I want to become Arnold, but it's not going to happen because of my genetics.
No, but like, for example, if you're overweight and your dad's overweight and his grandparents were overweight, you can't say it's genetic.
No, it's on you.
It's environmental. But it's hereditary because those habits are being passed through generations.
Yeah, but also, you got to remember as well, a lot of these... when it comes, and we've talked about this rabbit hole before, and I'm going to bring this up. A lot of this is, and I hate using the word indoctrinate because everyone's like, he's a conspiracy theorist. But if you think about it, we're being indoctrinated with food.
Definitely.
Example, eat three square meals a day. The most important meal is breakfast when it's actually not. But that's how they teach us.
Look, and that's okay for building a rhythm, for building a pattern, building habits.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, food is a habit. If you really, and that's what I like. Again, another thing that I promote in my practice is that if you really want to succeed and actually have a good health, or have good health, you need to have good dietary habits.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
I am so far with you. I'm not going to lie to you. I used to think food was when I say secondary, I knew it was important.
Yeah.
But bro, I am so buy into this now. Ask Kieran. Kieran, I agree how important. Like, man, it changed my life. I'm so in with you and Scott and what you guys do and what you bring to this company. It's so important.
Yeah.
I can't express how important it is. But people kind of take it like, you eat this, you're fine. Man, nutrient-dense foods, dude, changed my life.
Yeah.
It made me so much, ask Kieran, more energy, felt better, better decisions. And I'm on anti-anxiety medication. It even made my anxiety feel better.
Yeah,
it's 100%. Unbelievable.
100%. Because at the end of the day, like, every physiological and biological process needs vitamins, minerals, nutrients, proteins, whatever. Where do we get all that from? Food. So if we're putting, like, I always give the analogy of a car.
Oh, I love this.
Like, if you're putting shit petrol in your car, your engine's not going to run smoothly.
Well, I use premium for my Mustang, everyone.
There you go. And how smooth does your Mustang run?
Oh, mwah.
You know what I mean? Like, everyone's body at the end of the day is like a Ferrari.
Correct.
But we're putting in unleaded 91 or ethanol. Do you know what I mean? It's not going to run like a Ferrari.
So what do you say to all the coaches? Like, so you don't like counting calories. You like to get that intrinsic feeling from the athlete, the individual. Yeah. What's your thought process or opinion on other people that do like to count calories or people that just, so say for me, example, what if I did count calories? Is that a bad thing? Is that not a good thing? Does it help? Does it not help? Or is it just not your optimal way of achieving results?
He did answer that question before, just let you know.
But I want to dive in more.
You want to delve? You want to go in deeper?
Like, at the end of the day, I will never tell anyone how to run their business, right? Or I will never tell another practitioner how to treat a client.
Yes. Example.
Yeah. But from my perspective, what I would say to people is that, like, there's a time and place for everything. So calorie counting, like I was saying earlier, like, if you're bodybuilding or you're doing something that requires you to be under a certain amount of body fat, fair enough. But majority of the people aren't after that. Majority of the people are looking for ways that they can eat, feel good, and not consume, not take up too much energy to make their food. Yeah. Right? Because if you look at calorie counting, number one, you have to think of the food. Then you have to get an app that tracks it. So you have to put in all the data. Then you have to go put it all together. By the end of it, you're stressed out, you're tired, you're not going to even enjoy the food. So rather than doing that, if you focus on nutrient-dense food, and this is what I do, I tell them, these are the list of foods that I encourage you to eat. Here's a recipe, here's a list of the foods that I encourage you to eat.
What are some of those foods?
So number one is like grass-fed animal foods.
Yes.
So, red meat, organ meats, fresh I can't talk now. Wild caught fish.
Yes.
Free range eggs, fruit, organic honey. These are some of the foods that I promote.
So just so I understand that, you'd give them a list. So let's say Woodford athlete comes in, and they say, Woody, I want to be holistic and I suggest everyone out there should be coming down here and training and working with myself and Ahmed and my team, get the best results. That's how it is. But they come down and you give them a list of foods to eat.
Yeah, but I'll also go one step further. So I'll give them like a recipe book with a bunch of recipes that fit that, right?
Oh, okay.
But like I said to you, I don't like to do everything for my clients. I like them to take initiative and take action.
Yeah.
So I always encourage them, and I'll make this explicitly clear, is that with those guidelines that I've given you, if you have recipes, because everyone comes from different backgrounds with different cultures, different foods.
Yeah.
If you've got foods that are native to your culture, for example, that fit that guideline or those guidelines, I'm more than happy for you to make it. You know what I mean? And if all else fails, you can't go wrong with steak and veggies.
Yeah, true.
Most simple, effective.
It's so simple, so effective. You don't need to calorie count. You'll eat a steak. You will stop when you feel full from the steak, right? And if you keep going past that point, you'll start to feel a little bit nauseous.
Yeah, sick.
That's your body telling you you've eaten too much, stop. But the thing is, when we eat ultra-processed foods and a lot of foods with sweeteners and additives, that signal doesn't really get sent to the brain, or it's very, very delayed. So then we don't feel that fullness till after we've already eaten more than what we need.
But isn't that a product of that? The manufacturer, they want that to buy more. They want.
Well, I mean, they're after profits. They're not after your health.
Well, it's kind of like everything else we talked about before. It's like, and I don't want to say this again, but like a perfect example, this is just my opinion, tell me what you think, but if you look at Big Pharma, of course they want unhealthy people.
Well, you know what's funny about that? Nestle has just come out. I mean, Nestle makes all those sugary foods and those chocolates, and now they've come out with an anti-diabetic drug.
Is that a joke?
I'm pretty sure it's. I'm pretty sure they've come up with a medicine.
They make the situation and they make the medicine.
As a business
model, what a business model! It was like the guy who was. This is hilarious. A guy owned a CrossFit and had a physio center inside the CrossFit. He got him injured. They came to the physio. Yeah. It's a great business model.
But you even think about it. If you're after profits, all right, and you're Big Pharma, you don't want people getting healthy.
Correct. Not at all.
You don't want them.
It's not a good. It's not a good profitable business.
Yeah. Like I said that to myself. Like I said to my clients, I don't want you for 3 months. If you're still with me for 3 months continuously, that means I haven't done my job correctly. So if you're on medications for 20 years, what the hell are you still taking them for?
Correct, but people don't look at it that way. They want, and we talked about this before with a quick fix with the medicine, right?
Yeah, it's easy to pop a pill.
It's easy to pop a pill. And here's a perfect one. I'm going to bring this up, and I want to talk to you about this for the last 20 minutes, but let's bring this up right now. Testosterone, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about the importance of it, because everyone who follows me, and when I put up a post about it, will message me, ask me, flood me about testosterone. In my opinion, testosterone is one of the most important hormones, and it makes us men. And yes, 100%. By the way, females do produce it at 1/12 that we do. But let's just talk about males in particular, because we're men and we talk about this. Let's talk about the natural testosterone in the body.
Yeah, so it is 100%. It's one of the most important hormones, especially for men. The issues arise when men have too low and when women have too much.
Okay.
So that's the issue with the different.
Let's just talk about men for a second.
Yeah. So with men, like, the reason why we're not getting enough testosterone is not necessarily just because our testes aren't producing them.
Can I just read this? Can I just read this thing which I got? I just want to read to you. Tell me what you think. I was actually saved this for you, actually. So, as you know, I'm huge on understanding testosterone. I've been researching it for ages. I actually might do a graduate cert in it, because I was asking Kieran about it, what she thought, and she's like, "Oh, that's a good idea." But I'm just getting obsessed with it and getting your blood work done. Blah blah. I'm just going to try and find it here, because Kieran, can you bring it up? It's on
keep going.
Keep going. And once I have it, I'll bring it up with you.
Why don't we keep having those high levels of test?
So it's all hormone production is regulated in the brain. Almost all of it.
Yep.
Right. So it's you look at the foods we're eating. You look at the way the sedentary lifestyles that we're leading, the stress that we're under, the lack of sunlight, the lack of exposure to nature. All these things have a physiological and a biological effect on the body.
Yep.
So I mean, you look at most men these days, especially the young kids, and I've done a few talks at schools, specifically to adolescent boys, and educating them on how to improve their health. But you look at them; a lot of them are indoors, playing video games. Sport numbers have declined, right? Like I played football here up until last year when I left, and the amount of teams that didn't have an under-19s team was significantly more than what it was when I was in the under-19s.
Can you just keep that, think about that, just hold that thought? Men, testosterone levels have dropped 40% in the last 20 years, which is huge. That's nearly half, 50%. If you feel like half the man your grandfather was, it's because you are. Here, 12. Let's talk about that quickly. But go back to what you're saying and then talk about that.
So, number one, we're less active. We're not being outside. And all these things are so important for, not just testosterone, but mental health. So if our mental health is down, our testosterone is going to be down because they work together. Yes. Do you know what I mean? So testosterone peaks usually in the morning because...
You get wood, don't you? I get morning wood.
Yeah, well, that's what I tell my clients. Like a good sign...
You get morning wood? Well, of course.
So a sign of... This is why one reason I don't necessarily always run straight to the meds, because your body will tell you what your levels are roughly. So if
just quickly, if you... I don't know if you know this, but if you don't... just for everyone out there, I get stiff in the morning, like very rock hard, just letting everyone know there. But if you don't, let's say you don't. Let's say you're one of the men who don't, and they're like, holy shit, Woodford gets a bone in the morning that's so huge and strong and like a man, but I don't because I'm like a beater. Does that mean he's low in testosterone? Like,
It's one of the reasons.
Is that all correlate to low testosterone? I don't know.
It's
just so everyone knows that.
yeah.
That's,
But again, like we were saying, it's multifactorial because
Of course.
at the end of the day, and a lot of people don't know this, but an erection, right, is a parasympathetic reaction.
So when we say parasympathetic for everyone out there,
rest and digest.
It's rest and digest. So it's a non-voluntary response.
It's a relaxation.
The relaxation, yeah.
So if you're chronically stressed, if you're depressed, if you're anxious,
you're not going to get it.
you're not going to get it, right? And conversely, right, if you're constantly stressed as well, your testosterone naturally is going to be low because your body needs to feel good in order to produce testosterone.
100%.
And testosterone is the hormone that tells men to get shit done. That's why it's highest in the morning.
Dude. It is so fucking true. And that's only one F-bomb I've dropped, Kieran, sorry. But it's so true with testosterone. And they talk about these men with high levels or in the high level, with the high level of testosterone, you're more focused,
100%.
you get more work done, you're driven, you're hungry to get better. It's so true.
And a lot of the things that they say about toxic masculinity is not about high levels of testosterone, it's about low levels.
No, because they're angry.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it, and I say this a lot because I'm Muslim, so I speak to a lot of people that are of my similar faith. But I say, like, if you look at the Quran, right, they talk about wars that the men fought.
Yeah.
Our prophets and all the the holy men in our religion, they weren't fighting wars at 20. They were in their 60s. What was allowing them to fight wars with swords?
Testosterone.
Yeah. Wow. So if you're a 60-year-old man and you can't even go for a walk, that's because your testosterone is low. Right? So it's important that we engage in activities and in dietary habits that actually help us produce.
Okay, perfect. That's going to lead way into what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, so for anyone out there, right, let's say, example, obviously, naturally, you can improve your testosterone.
Yeah.
100%. We're going to talk about this. But it comes to a point where, with men, in my opinion, and this is as long as you're not playing sport, I'm going to specifically say that. I do not agree with anyone who takes tests. I'm just going to say this because all these people hate on me and they say, no, I don't. If you take sport, do not touch it. If you don't, and you're just an everyday male, at some point you're probably going to need exogenous TRT, but that's for a subject for a whole nother day. Naturally, how can you improve your testosterone with food? And what foods could you eat?
Saturated fat.
Oh, this is big.
So look to the camera. For all those that have stopped eating saturated fat because the media or the health advice was to stop eating it, rubbish.
So let's
complete rubbish.
Let's talk there because I was taught, and we talked about literally just before.
Yeah.
Trans fat bad, saturated fat bad, poly and monounsaturated good. But what you're telling me right now, which is a mind fuck, is saturated fat bad, trans fat you good.
So trans fat
Not everything black or white,
is
but
bad, period.
Yeah.
Black or white, trans fat is bad. Stay
bad.
the hell away from it.
Okay, yeah.
Right?
What? Just give an example. Everyone, example. What's
So
trans
fat is like canola oil.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
a hydrogenated polyunsaturated fat. So it's pretty much saturated fat means it's completely saturated with single bonds, which means that it's a very stable and it's solid at room temperature.
Okay.
Right? So it's very resistant to damage from heat, light, and air.
Okay.
So it's a stable energy. Stable fat. And trans fats are as well. They're quite stable, but they're chemically done so because trans fats are originally polyunsaturated fats that have been hydrogenated to become more stable.
Okay.
So they're really bad. They're oxidized. Because even if you look at the way that they extract the oil, right? Before I get into that, so that's trans fats. Saturated fats means it's completely saturated with hydrogen bonds, which means that it's solid at room temperature, it's resistant to heat, light, and air, and it's actually can provide energy and sustenance.
This is trans fat.
No, this is saturated.
What's
fat.
an example?
So saturated fat comes from like meat. It predominantly comes from animal foods.
Yes.
But you can also get it from coconut and palm oil.
So just to understand this, so saturated fats bad, like in terms of bad, we don't want to eat them. Like
no, trans fats.
So I'm confused. So trans fats are bad. Saturated fats are good.
Good.
So with saturated fats, can you give us an example what saturated fats are?
Yeah. So I was just saying animal foods. So like red meat, eggs, milk, raw milk, I should say.
No, okay, this is interesting. We're going down rabbit holes here.
I think we need to do another podcast.
I know, but just to understand this, can you explain it? I've always wanted to know because my mate's big on this, and shout out to Jesse Postons. I don't know if he's going to watch this, but I'll tell him I mentioned his name. He'll love it. He's massive. He's in Queensland right now. He left Melbourne for the reasons why. Yeah, you know the reasons. But he left, and he loves it up there, the sun, vitamin D. But he's big on raw milk.
100%. I'm big on it.
Explain to everyone why.
So the reason why they banned it, and if you look at it again, it's the same bullshit excuse that every country that has banned it done so, right? Is because apparently there were cases of, I think it was listeria, it was a bacteria. Break out. So they banned it, right? I mean,
of course, anything good they're going to ban.
But I mean, cigarettes, you can still buy cigarettes, even though on the label it says causes cancer.
But once again, that's money to the government. You know that we'll ban raw milk. Same as the reason why they banned solariums. Absolute bullshit excuse.
But if you look at the nutrient profile of raw milk, it is like, and I know
where do you get it from? Do I have to milk a cow?
Yeah.
Let's go milk cows.
It's it's illegal, but
wait, just stop.
It's illegal.
It's illegal.
Yeah, you can, if you sell raw milk to the public, you can get fined.
It's illegal.
Look it up. It's illegal.
How the fuck do you get raw milk?
So what do you think of what do you think of the milk they sell?
Under the table.
Wait. Stop.
So it is illegal. You just gotta find a way to get it.
Everything's illegal until you get caught.
So wait. So what do you think of normal milk they sell at supermarkets?
So with the normal milk, it's been homogenized and pasteurized to the extent where it's
simplified. What does that mean?
So it's been pretty much heated. So it's been put under extreme heat, so it can destroy the bacteria. But then at the end of the day, protein gets denatured at certain temperatures.
Yeah, wouldn't it kill the protein?
So it breaks down the.
So it pretty much you're killing off all the nutrition in the milk.
It makes sense.
So is there anything good out of that milk?
No. So they've destroyed everything that's good. Now the milk tastes like shit. So what do they have to do to make it good?
Sugar.
Exactly right. So they put in sugar.
Where do I get raw milk from? I want to know. We can talk after this, but where can you get it?
I don't know.
All these people. Okay, we'll talk afterwards. But with raw milk, so I understand, is it just you milk the tits the cow and it comes out?
And then look, ideally you do want to heat it a little bit because if there is any bacteria,
you're fucked.
Yeah, but you don't want to heat it to the point where it is denaturing the proteins. Right, because when you look at it's got like lactose, which is an essential, sugar. It's got like protein. It's got immunoglobulins, which are so important for the immune system. Like I don't know like the exact details, but like I've been told, right, and it makes sense. But it's got the immunoglobulin profile of cow milk is very similar to the profile of human breast milk.
Okay.
So essentially, if a woman can't breastfeed, then raw milk is probably better than that fucking powdered crap.
Okay, let's continue on. Just quickly, we're talking about trans fat. How trans fat is good.
So saturated fat. So they're the sources of.
Yeah. But so you say red milk? What about butter?
Butter's amazing.
Okay, I take
margarine.
I wouldn't touch on the temple wall.
Yeah.
Salted butter.
Amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Keza. Yes.
Salt, like I was saying earlier, salt is amazing for you.
Just also, we're going about how to boost testosterone naturally with foods. Can we just quickly talk about that?
Yeah, so that's what we're talking about. Yeah.
Okay. So you're saying red meat, you're saying butter, you're saying it's so funny.
Cholesterol, so dietary cholesterol is an important one.
Do you know you need cholesterol for testosterone?
I was just about to say that.
I was mind blown to the point of oblivion.
So here's the thing, right? So, I think I fucked up the headphones.
No, you didn't. You're fine. You're talking. You're fine.
Oh, all right.
You're fine.
So your body cannot make sex steroids, so testosterone, estrogen, without cholesterol.
I know. I couldn't believe that.
You can't. But if you look at the biochemical pathway,
cholesterol's bad.
No, it's not bad. We've been told it's bad.
We've been told it's bad.
Exactly right. And second, furthermore, there's different types of cholesterol.
Yes, correct.
So you've got VLDL, which is very low density.
Yeah.
You've got low density lipoprotein, and you've got HDL, high density lipoprotein.
But there's good and bad ones, isn't there, or no?
Yeah. But at the end of the day, there's better markers of health to look out for cardiovascular health than cholesterol. Much better.
So you're trying to say that your cholesterol levels, don't even stress too much about it. Look at the other things first before you.
Again, you don't want them blown out of the water completely.
Yes.
But it's not as simple as you look at the reference, you look at that, and it's simple. There's so many, and that's what I mean. Like a lot of trainers, even GPs, there are a lot of GPs that I've had to send referral letters 3 or 4 times explaining to them certain tests that I want done and certain because of things that I've seen, and they just dismiss
but you got to remember with GPs, and I'll give them a bit of I'll give them a bit of leeway. I'll give them a leeway. They're a jack of all trades, master of none. Yeah. And the biggest issue I have with GPs is the first thing they're going to give you is go to big, and this is once again, please don't kill me, Big Pharma, but Big Pharma, once again, they win. Yeah. Give them a pill. Have you noticed that? They never talk. What one time have they ever talked about exercise or sun in the last 2 years?
Never. But going back to the cholesterol, right, you also got to think, so we need cholesterol in order to make testosterone. Now, what is a large portion of the population on? What medications? Cholesterol lowering medication. What they actually do, these medications, they stop your body producing, or they reduce the amount of cholesterol your body produces.
Shit.
Right? But the most detrimental thing that I believe is that in that process, your body makes, or in that biochemical pathway, your body also makes coenzyme Q10, which is a antioxidant. Isn't
it used for your skin?
It is, but it's a lipophilic antioxidant. What that means is it likes fat. So it's a fat soluble, well, I'm not 100% fat soluble, but it likes fat. It's an antioxidant that protects fats. And then you look at all the tissues that use fat predominantly for energy. So things like the heart actually uses a lot of ketones for energy, and the brain. Your body needs a lot of coenzyme Q10. And you look at a lot of these people that take cholesterol lowering medications. You look at it long term, a lot of them have heart issues. In part because of the coenzyme Q10
No
deficiency.
shit, so it fucks up the actual...
So they're getting a medication that makes them worse.
It solves one problem,
but then it goes the other one.
A few others.
But once again, it's feeding the beast, isn't it? It's feeding this whole, we want you
a new
sick,
market for medications.
New market. And in terms of business model, brilliant. But in terms of their health...
Ethics,
mate,
gone out the window.
They have no... Like, these people... And you know that they have no ethics.
Yeah.
Man, imagine if that was you or me or him. I'd be like, shit. I feel shit if we take $100 out of someone's bank account accidentally.
100%.
And these people fuck people over for the fucking incredible.
Bro, that's such a short-term response, isn't it? Because, like, yeah, you drop cholesterol, but then you're fucking up everything else.
And like I was saying earlier, like cholesterol's not the be-all, end-all for cardiovascular health.
Exactly.
It's nowhere near it. You know, you're better off looking at like blood sugar regulation and fasting insulin and all these other metrics.
Do you know how to read
hip
bloods?
and waist rate. Look,
do you know how to read bloods?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I read bloods on yeah.
Oh,
definitely.
Excellent.
Yeah, we got trained. One of my courses that we did a whole semester on was pathology.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, so
really good.
Yeah, we went into detail about the testing and what they mean and how to correct them and using natural things.
Where you went to study, where you rate that like
Endeavour College of Natural Health. If anyone is looking to study nutrition or anything health related, go there.
Because these days, do you reckon the unis have bastardized it?
I think the mainstream ones maybe. Yeah, that's probably another rabbit hole.
Yeah, I know. We're going down rabbit holes.
What are we going to say about waist to hip ratio?
So waist to hip ratio is probably the best marker for your health.
Wait,
cheapest.
What?
Because that's where you're at. So we were talking before about how your body builds fat, right? So if you've got a great waist to hip ratio, so if your waist comes out more than your hip, or if that ratio is too high.
What do you want a good hip to, like bigger hips and lower?
So you don't want your waist where because you got to think about it, right? That's where all your internal organs are. Your waist.
But don't men store fat in the abs, belly, and the women in the hips?
Which is why men get more cancers and more diseases with the visceral organs.
Oh yeah, true.
Because that's where we predominantly store fat, and that's visceral fat. So that's like quite bad fat that your body does not want.
Visceral fat's bad, and free fatty acid is
free fatty. They're two different things. So you got visceral fat, which is the tissue around
your organs,
around the organs, and then you got subcutaneous fat. That's the one around the arms, the legs. That's pretty harmless from a health perspective.
Yeah, but it's the visceral fat that's bad around the organs, isn't it?
Yeah. So if you've got a lot of visceral fat, or if you've got like a greater hip, if you've got a pot belly, let's just say, or beer belly, then that's a good indicator that you've got like insulin resistance potentially, or metabolic syndrome, or you've got cardiovascular issues, because that's one of the later symptoms it's going to show.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's more important than LDL and cholesterol.
Quickly, I know we could go on all day about this, but we'll definitely do another one when you come back down, because this is really good. I've been engaged.
I've been listening the whole time.
I'm shattered. I've only got a little bit of time left.
Because Kieran just said I wasn't engaged in the last one, and I did get a bit bored when the three of us. But I'm actually engaged during this because I'm actually learning. When I'm learning, I'm engaged.
I know.
But I don't know about you, Chris. It's been fantastic. But quickly, what supplement? Because everyone, oh my effing God, talks about supplements, blah, blah. They should supplement your diet for everyone out there, not be the sole source of nutrition. But
so the actual word supplement
is supplement.
Doesn't mean replacement.
Correct.
It means supplement, accompanying.
Which supplements do you recommend?
So it depends, again, context.
I know, but
what are you after?
But which ones do you recommend?
To enhance performance.
So to enhance performance, creatine's probably the best one I would go for.
Tick. Bro, I was just talking about that today.
Salt. A good quality salt.
We talk about sodium, yeah.
And that could be something that we could talk about in the next session.
Yeah.
But yeah, salt will be another one.
Creatine, salt.
Protein, like a good whey protein powder.
Electrolytes?
Well, that's the salt.
Yeah, true. But true. We recommend. Tell me what you think. I am the biggest, and I know you are, but I'm just going to ask you anyway. For me personally, I could not live without this supplement or this you call it what caffeine? What's caffeine, a drug or what? Fucking?
Oh, I mean everything really can be broken
a drug, but caffeine. Yeah. I believe it's best. It's a neural exciter. It's a glycogen sparer, and it's a fat stimulator.
Increases fat beta oxidation.
Oxidation,
100%. And caffeine's really good, but you also got to, again, context. So where are you getting your caffeine from? If you're getting it from generic coffee brands, there's been a lot of studies that have shown that a lot of the coffee beans that we get have got traces of mold in them. So you might be getting a bit of caffeine, but you're also getting exposure to mold toxins.
I just take no dose sometimes.
Caffeine. Just don't take it too late, because caffeine will increase cortisol.
No, I take it in the morning.
Yeah,
when I get up.
Because if you and I've seen this a lot with people. Like I've worked in the gym before outside of here, right? And I used to see a lot of guys, tradies especially, that would come to the gym. It'd be like 8 p.m. and they get like 3 scoops of pre-workout, which is just loaded with caffeine. Bullshit, by the way. Sorry to anyone that takes pre-workout. But yeah, they would just load up on the pre-workout, and then like I would talk to them. Oh yeah, bro, I don't get much sleep. It's like no shit. You're overloading your system with caffeine at late in the night, right? Your stress levels are going up, and when you release cortisol, your body suppresses melatonin.
It can't sleep.
Exactly right. So you're not going to be able to initiate sleep. You're literally going to fall asleep because your body's just gassed out, and then you're going to wake up feeling sluggish. So you need more caffeine.
REM. Yeah, that's a big one actually. Yeah. Sleep is what's so important. But we live in a society, and you know this, of just we've always got to be up. We can't be tired. So we supplement with the pre-workout's a big one, right? So pre-workout for me, I haven't believed in it. I think you might as well just have caffeine, pure caffeine. But people are obsessed with it, and the shit they put in it is God knows what.
And there's also been studies where they've shown that a lot of these supplement companies, what they do is they advertise hypothetically, or let's just say, for example, 100 milligrams of caffeine.
And they don't have it.
It's probably got 50 milligrams, or it's got even more.
No
and
shit.
they've actually even found like a lot of pre-hormones in a lot of those supplements.
What do you mean pre-hormones?
So things that actually, like pretty much like weak steroids to an extent.
Do you know
they found a whole bunch.
Do you know
of
the old Jack? Do you know the old Jack had D-line amphetamine? It's one step off making methamphetamine. So for anyone out there who said they've never touched drugs, well, you have.
Yeah.
You have.
The best pre-workout you can ever take is a good night's sleep.
Agreed. You're right.
The second best is salt. Electrolytes.
Yeah, we discussed this the other time.
And maybe we can go into a bit more detail, next time we do this.
Look at him. He's already talking about next time. I love it.
Yeah, we're already going to book him in.
No, it's really been real good. But yeah,
But
how long have we been going for? Just so I know. Baby, when Brick's gone. Yeah, we want to, because after an hour people switch off. But it's been fantastic.
No, I loved it.
But how do you want to quickly wrap up talking?
No, Ahmed, that was actually unbelievable.
60 minutes of fire.
I was so engaged in that I treated it like a learning lesson. That's why I kept asking you questions and repeating, expanding. I was like, I honestly want to get my notebook out.
You off.
No, but my thing about me is I want to know, so I'm going to know it. I'm not going to let you leave and me having a question and do my head in.
No, 100%.
But the thing is, the knowledge that you give is not only like us. And that's why you're at work. That's why you're under the banner, Woodford, and you're our nutritionist, because you give such good science, but then you can practical experience. Yeah. That's what I love. A lot of people who are knowledgeable, they might give you the science, but they have no fucking idea about application.
A lot of people just regurgitate studies. They downloaded the abstract. They say that so and so had an effect on so and so completely, because we got taught how to read studies as well. We know what a good structured research article is.
Wait, just one thing. I want to give a shout out to your college. Say it one more time so everyone knows.
Endeavour College of Natural Health.
Because they taught you well. 3 years, 2 years?
Yeah, it was a 3-year degree, but I did it in about, I think, 4 or 5 years because I did it part-time.
Yeah.
But if
Great
anyone
teachers?
wants, amazing. But if anyone wants to, pursue a career in nutrition or any natural health, honestly, go there, because the class sizes are a good size, so you can actually learn and feel heard.
Yep.
The teachers are so experienced, and they're so accommodating, they're so nice, and they're so insightful. And I mean, it's a central location. It's in Melbourne Central. So if you're in Melbourne...
What's it called? Endeavour College. I see. For me personally, it sounds fantastic.
Yeah, so it's, I think, on the corner of Burke Street and... I've forgotten the CBD streets already.
It must be a big thing, because they're in the...
It's right outside Melbourne Central, and it's all around Australia. So even if you're not in Australia...
it is all around Australia.
Yeah. So if you're not in Victoria and listen to this, I would still encourage it, because...
So it's a big... It's been going a while then.
Oh, yeah. It used to be called, I think it was under another name, but yeah.
But man, the knowledge that you live in proof.
Yeah, and look,
you've done some own research.
Not to take credit away from them as well, but one thing that I have had to do is I've had to retrain myself.
No. We agree, same. Yeah, with training as well, physical prep.
Yeah, when like you learn what you learn, like all the biochemical and pathways and the scientific knowledge jargon that I say, that's all from uni. So they gave me that foundation.
And then you have to apply what works in the real world.
Exactly right. So then I went out and did my own research with my own clients. I bought books, I read research. You watch podcasts, and then you start to. That's the application.
You watch the AskWoodford show. That's for
100%.
sure.
Exactly.
We all watch the AskWoodford show. All right, wrap this up, Dirk.
Ahmed, where can we find you?
So I've got my website up and running finally, which is amenutrition.com.au.
Yep.
So head over to there. I've got a contact us page. So reach out if you have any questions. I am on Instagram, AME Nutrition.
We do share your posts, so we promote it.
Greatly appreciate that.
Yeah, no, we appreciate it.
And I love sending things because.
Well, Kieran loves it because the knowledge we get is brilliant. I love it. I personally think it's great. So yeah.
I just hate Instagram to an extent because it's not so much about knowledge.
It's more about Trust me, we got to play the game sometimes.
That's a whole other topic.
Yeah,
that's a whole other topic. Sorry, I'm glad you grabbed me.
Where can we find you?
Yeah, so they're the two main ones. I've got my email, so info AME Nutrition. If anyone wants to send me .com.au an email. But
absolutely.
But all through Woodford's. I'm also associated with a chiropractic clinic in Sydney called Chirokinetics. They're amazing practitioners as well. So you can reach me through there as well if you're in New South Wales.
Awesome.
Episode 3, done and dusted with Ahmed Eideh.
I need to say one thing before we go because we didn't say it last time. Just quickly for everyone watching, Merry Christmas because we didn't say it last time.
Yes.
I wish everyone out there, because this will be our last episode before New Year's, happy and safe New Year's. Very important. Very important. Look after your friends, look after your family.
Yeah.
Just for everyone out there watching this and thinking 2023, it's a very big year for Woodford, and specifically, it's a big year for myself. And I'm wishing everyone out there a massive 2023 because I really think that it's important, everyone, and I've talked here on this, but changing your mindset's a big one. And I think next year's a big one for Woodford, our staff, all of us included. So I wish you happy and healthy New Year's. Hopefully every goal, make it yours, work hard, be passionate and go after it. Ahmed, you're a legend. Thank you for coming on board.
I want to say thanks to you guys. I mean, this is the first podcast I've ever done. So.
Oh, really? You did fucking well.
You fucking ticked it off the list really well.
Yeah, so
well, you did well.
I appreciate you guys having me on here and look forward to hopefully doing a bit more.
I appreciate you also for a few things you've done for Woodford. It's been fantastic. A lot of things you've done for Woodford, but appreciate it. And we talked about team members before. Chris and I talked about. I'm not going to talk too much about it, but you're the perfect team member because a few things you've done, proven it. You want to be here. You immerse yourself in your culture. You love. I see every time you come in here, you love it. We talk shop. You're brilliant, and I love your passion, Ring. So thanks very much for being yourself, and it's fantastic.
Man, thank you. Episode 3, done and dusted. See you soon.